So I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Holly Whytock. I'm the Communications Director for Eventotron, and I work alongside Chris Perkin, who is the founder and director. Let's get started on today's webinar, which is about events and reporting. So Eventotron is essentially a toolbox for festivals and season managers and venue managers as well. We work with festivals, seasons, and all over the world, and all sorts of different setups. So I'm just going to quickly go through the sort of setups that we're working with. So we work with open access festivals. So for example, that's the way Edinburgh Fringe works, and also Brighton Fringe, who we work with here in the UK. And so they don't have any kind of application process. It's an open registration for them. Then we work with curated festivals as well, which obviously means that the festival puts out an application process, and they then choose the artists that they want to work with. Lottery festivals are the way that a lot of the Canadian festivals operate, and so obviously they operate on a lottery-based system. So it's a really fair way of bringing in artists. Touring schemes. So more recently, Eventotron started working with touring schemes. Rural touring is something that happens all across the UK, and it's schemes that put professional arts into small local spaces like village halls and community centres. So we work with them in a similar way. They're putting events into multiple different venues just across a larger geographical area than perhaps a festival would. We work with year-round venues as well, and also we do things with one-day events. So we've got a really broad spectrum of different setups that we're working with. So Eventotron is really a kind of global network now. We have 60,000 artists plus using and registered on the system. We've got about 8,000 venues and hundreds of festival and season managers all using Eventotron. So it's a place where artists can find opportunities to perform, and obviously where festivals and seasons can promote the opportunities they've got, and venues as well can take applications from artists and can look for work that they want to program. So Eventotron, as I said at the start, is a toolbox essentially for the festival or season or venue. And it's a way for you to collect information from the events that are going to be part of what you're doing, and from the venues. And then you can then push that information out into all sorts of different aspects of your administration and your marketing mix. So for example, you might create a brochure, and you can use the information that you've collected in Eventotron, and we can populate your brochure template with that information. Departure boards, similarly, if you've contracting, you can do in Eventotron, so you can pull information into document templates that you create within the system. We can push all your information to websites and apps. We can create venue passes for you. We've recently created a new front of house tool, which operates within our inbuilt ticketing system, Super Simple Box Office. We can create portals for you. There's a portal function, and some clients are already using that for press, so you can invite press in just to see specific information that you've collected within that portal. We can do all your settlements for you. We use an external payment processor to do all our transactions. And obviously, as we're going to discuss today, we can do reporting in Eventotron on all your collected information. And as I mentioned, we have an inbuilt integrated box office called Super Simple Box Office. But we can also export data to external ticketing systems as well. So today we're going to be looking at the events tab, which is where you'll spend quite a lot of your time as a festival manager or season manager. So I'm just going to give you an overview of how it all works. So here we are in the Eventotron home screen. I'm just going to go up here to my festival and seasons and choose the festival that I'm going to work on. So this is my example festival, and this is the management dashboard. So I'm just going to the events tab here. And we're just going to have a kind of look around here. So here are the search results, go, save, and then you've got these three options here: applications, registrations, and finalized. Applications are in orange, registrations are in navy blue, and finalized are in green here. So I'm just going to do something really simple to show you how you would look at your applications. You just tick applications, untick the other two options there, and hit go. And there you can see the applications that you've received to your festival or season. So now I'm just going to look at all my events in one place. So you can see there I've got 29 results, and that table showing all the events, the applications, the registrations, and those that are finalized. So I'm just going to quickly show you this. So this filter results box is a really handy way of quickly searching through your event data. So you can pop in an event title there, you can put in a main admin contact name or email address. So I'm just putting a title in there. You can see it searched on that, and an email address. So there you go. It's just a really easy, quick way of moving through your events and finding the information that you're after. So now I'm going to go into an event. To go into an event, you just click on the event ID, the colored button there. And this is, you're looking at it now as an artist would see it. It's very similar setup to what the artist sees. And I'm just going to make a change to this question so I can answer that in there, and that's updated. You can see it's saved at the top there. And then these arrow toggles can toggle you through to your next event in the list. So it's just an easy way to move through your events. And then just click outside the box to get back to your events tab. So that's just a sort of overview. And now we're going to look at creating some reports. So I'm going to do some example reports. These are all based on the information that I've collected in my festival. So they're just to give you examples. Obviously, you will have collected different information, so but it gives you an overview of how it works. So this first report I'm going to create is I'm going to look at the number of performers. So what I want to find out in this report is how many shows I've got with 2 or less performers in. So this is how I would run that report. So I'm in my events tab. I'm going to go here to the event search criteria. I'm just going to hit this button here, the plus sign, and that brings up this add a field. So these are all the questions in my info collection. So I could choose anything from in here, but I'm going to search on the number of performers. I've got these options here: equals, greater than, less than, and unanswered. So I want to know how many have 2 or less performers. So I'm going to hit the less than button, and I'm going to put 3 in here so that I see those that are 2 or less. And I'm just going to add that search criteria, close that off, so you can see that sitting there. And I'm just going to run that report. So I hit go. So there you can see a list of 9 results. So these 9 shows all have 2 performers or less. But I need a bit more information in this table. I want to know actually how many performers are in each of these shows. So to do that, I need to go here to event fields to include. And that's how I'm going to add that column. So again, these are all the questions in your info collection, all the different sections. And there are some special sections we'll talk about later. So number of performers, which is in my basic section, but I'm just showing you here. These are all the other questions in my forms. But that's the one I want. Close that box off and then hit go again. So there you can see the number of performers column. I'm just going to make a change to this one. So I clicked in the cell there, and you can see I can edit the field from here rather than going into the event itself. So I'm just going to put that as 3 performers in that show, and you can see it's updated there and it's now in green. I'm also going to save this report. So I hit this save button. This is a report I'm going to do again, so I'm going to save it rather than recreate it every time. So you hit save and that report is now saved, and this is where you would find it. I'm just going to refresh the page. So you can see now you've got save reports there, and my number of performers report is there, and it's just pulled it up again for me. And as you can see, it's now only 8 results because I made that change to that one show, so that now no longer falls within this report. Okay, so now I'm going to do a performances report on all the scheduled performances in my festival. So to do that, you go to this grey bar here and click on performances. And you'll see this drop down. So I want to see all the individual performances in my results. So I'm going to tick that box. And I want to see all the performances in my festival. So I'm selecting all the dates, which will select all your festival dates. And then I can search on start times and running times and price as well if I want to, but I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And I'm going to hit the go button. So you can see here, this brings up a lot of data, a big table of results. So these are all the individual performances. I've got all the dates, starts, end times, the venue, the address. I've got all this ticketing information. So it's quite a big, detailed table. And I actually want something a little bit simpler to export. I need just some basic information about my performances. So I go to this details to include at the bottom here, and I'm just going to select things I want to see. So I just want to see the date, the start and end time, the date sortable, the venue, and the price. So those are the fields I want to see in my report. So I'm going to hit go again. And now you can see there, I've got a more a simplified report there with all that information that I've asked it for. Now you can see here the date isn't in order. So to sort it, you just click on date sortable, the top of the column there. And that then organizes it into date and time order. You can see I've got my venues there and the prices. So now I want to export that. So I'm going to hit the export to CSV button. And that then exports that spreadsheet. We're going to do a marketing report now. This is going to show you how you would extract the information you've collected in your marketing section. So things like images and copy. I'm going to make it slightly more complicated than that though, because I'm going to do the report based on shows that are programmed into venues with a capacity of over 50. So I can show you some other aspects of reporting by doing that. So to start with, I'm going to look at the marketing information. I'm only going to look at my finalized shows because they will definitely have all their marketing information in there and complete. So this is my marketing section. I'm choosing the website copy and the image. And I've got a ticketing section here. So I want the suggested ticket price, the concession price, and the age suitability from there. And then in my basic section is where I've got my genre field. So that's the information I want to see in my report. And then to find out which shows have got are in a venue with a capacity of over 50, I go to the venue search criteria, choose venue capacity, and then from these options, choose greater than and 50. Add that, close that box off. And then as before, I want to actually see those columns in my report. So I need to choose the venue name and the venue capacity from venue fields to include to actually see that information in the report. And then I hit go. So there you go. There's my my report. So you can see they're all finalized events. I've got my event title, the website copy, the image, ticket pricing, the age suitability, genre, the name of the venue, and the venue capacity. I can export all that to CSV, and then to export or to download the images, use this little download button at the top of that column, hit download, and that will download a zip file of your images to the size that you've specified that your artists upload. Okay, so a progress report. This is a really useful report to know how to do if you're using the progress bar and you're requiring your events to finalize. So this is a way for you to see how far your events have got through your forms. So to run a progress report, you go to event fields to include. But first of all, I'm just going to untick finalize because they will have completed their forms. So I just want those that are in registration. So I'm going to tick overall progress. I also want to know how much of my marketing form these events that are still in registration have done. So you can see here, they're all still in registration. They're all in navy blue. That's the overall progress there out of 100. And then this here is the progress in the marketing form. So you can see quite a few haven't done anything. So I'm just going to select all those that haven't entered any information in their marketing section. And I'm going to email them and tell them to come back into Eventotron and fill in that info. So I hit email event managers, and you can see here that it says 10 events. So those are the 10 that I've selected. Here I could choose a template if I have one saved already for an email of this type. I haven't, so I'm just going to write one in and give it a subject. I'll show you how that data works in a second. So I'm just going to write the email in here. And I'm going to pop in the event title from my info collection data there. So you put whatever you need to put into the email, and I'm just going to preview this so you can see how that looks. So you can see there it's pulling in the title of the first show in the list. So that works. And you can put any other data that you need to in there. You can add an attachment if you want. And you can make a template so that if you send this email a lot, you can just load it next time. So I'm going to make a template. I'm going to call that marketing info request. Save that. So next time I come in, that'll be sitting under there. And then just hit send. So that's gone off to those 10 events to get them to come in and give us that information that we're still in need of. We're going to look at making bulk changes now. So you can make changes, obviously, at any time as the festival or season manager within the individual events, but you can also make changes in the events tab by pulling a report and making bulk changes. So I'm going to show you how. So I'm going to use display on website as the example here. So this is a question that's in the office use. So this is only seen by admins, so festival and season managers. And it's something that those clients that are using Super Simple Box Office and the Eventotron plugin would need to do. So to get information to show on their website, they need to have said display on website set to yes in info collection. So you can see here quite a few are not set to yes. So I'm just going to highlight those ones that are set to no, because I want all these events to be showing on my website. So I'll just tick those ones, and then I click in the cell here. And you can see I can edit that field, and I can put display on website to yes, and I can apply that to all 8 selected events. Hit save. And you can see now that's updated. So that's it's a really handy thing to know that you can do that rather than having to go into each individual event and making the change one by one. Right, we're going to look at how you accept, reject and unaccept applications now. Obviously, this only applies if you have an application phase, but it's quite useful to know anyway, because if you have events in registration that you no longer want to have as part of your festival, you would need to use the unaccept option as well. So let's have a look at this. So we're going to be looking specifically at applications. So I'm going to start by ticking the applications and taking these 2 off and clicking go. So here are my 3 applications. And this one, I'm just going to have a quick look at it. And I've decided that I want to approve that application and move it into to be part of the festival and ask them to complete the rest of the forms that I've got. So I just went to actions and accept, and it's now given me this option to send this email, which I've already pre-entered in my setup tab, but you can make changes to that email if you want to. And again, you can add an attachment if you need to do that. I just need to give it a subject. And hit accept. So that event has now received an email to say that yes, they are part of Example Festival, and can they come back to Eventotron and complete the rest of the registration forms. And you can see that that application has now moved out of the application phase and is now one of the navy blue registrations. I'm just going to go back to my applications. And we're just going to look at this application. It's got the same image. So this application, I want to reject. So you go to the actions button again, and here you can see reject. Now, I must just say, if you reject an application, it's no longer part of your festival. It doesn't appear in your festival admin at all. So there's no record of that application having been made if you hit reject. So I would advise you leave applications that you don't want to progress, just leave them in the application state, and then you know that they, you know, that application was made and you've got a record of that. But you know, if you need to completely remove an event from your festival, you use that reject button. So this event, I'm going to unaccept. It's been progressed through to registration, but I now don't want it to be part of the festival, so I'm going to unaccept it, which is going to push it back into the application phase. Again, I can choose to send a message, or I can just hit unaccept. I'll just refresh the tab, and you can see now that it's gone back into the application phase, and it's sitting there in applications. So now I'm going to work us through the other actions that are available within the Events tab. So we're going to look at the Actions button. So we've just been through these first three, the reject, unaccept, and accept options. So unfinalize. So if an event has been finalized and you want to unfinalize it as the festival season manager, you can do that there. And then we've got the option for you as the festival or season manager to finalize an event. So you would just select the event you want to finalize, hit that button. There is a warning here just to let you know that obviously that event might not have all the information in it that you want because it's not finished. So you're proceeding it before the artist may have been able to complete everything, but there you are, it's now finalized. So you as the festival or season manager can do that. I'm just going to show you how you can add an event to a venue from here. So you just highlight the event you want to add, click add to venue, and then this drop down here will show you all the venues that you have in your festival or season that are joined to your festival or season. So I'm just going to join it to Fake House here. Hit add to venue. Close that off, and then you go into the event itself. And you can see there it's joined to Fake House, and then I could add some performance dates, times and prices in there. We talked about emailing event managers, bulk email. You can export to a printable report, so that's exporting to a PDF as instead of exporting to CSV. You can copy an event to another festival or season, and you can add an event to a portal if you're using Eventotron's portal function, which we'll look at in another webinar. You can duplicate events. It's very unlikely you'd ever need to do this, but that's in case you've got something like a comedy special night that it is the same on 3 nights, but just has a different headliner. You might use duplicate for that sort of instance, but otherwise it's not something you should need. So I'm just going to show you how this works. This is the expand table that just opens it up a bit for you, so it makes it easier to look at. You just press it back again, and then expand collapse table cells. Again, it just makes it easier to view. I'm just going to look at the timeline now. This is really handy. So here you can see all my events programmed in, where they are in the timeline. I can change the color coding, so I'm looking at the color, the coding by venue now. You can change the start time you're looking at and the length that the report is showing. So, and you can also export to print there. Lottery tools, these apply mainly to the Canadian festivals that use a lottery. So you can put a prefix to your lottery number in there. And then you can choose the start number for your lottery numbers, and then you need to choose a field from your info collection forms where that's going to sit, so where you can assign the lottery number to. So it's probably in the office use if you don't need the applicants to see that. And then there's this make ticket option as well. So you give the lottery a name, and then you again choose the field that you'd assign those lottery numbers to. Sales, this applies to those clients using Eventotron's inbuilt super simple box office. It's just a really quick, easy way to see sales reports, which is really handy. Obviously, if you're using an external box office, that won't apply to you. And the same with audience. If you're using super simple box office, you can see all your audience information in there. We've looked at export to CSV, and we've looked at this actions button. So now I'm just going to talk you through these two up here. Create a new event. So if you hit that, you can essentially, you as the festival manager can create an event and invite an event manager in. So as opposed to them going through your application process, if you want to invite them to be part of your festival, you can do it this way. You can add them to a venue at this point if you want, and you could put their email address in there. You could put the event manager address in there, and they would be sent an email saying, you've been made the event manager of this event in Eventotron. Come in and fill in the forms, or you can leave it blank and administer it yourself. So I'm going to do that and show you how that looks. So here I am. This is kind of how this is pretty much how the artist sees the forms. And I'm going to now put in the main admin contact. And as I say, that will send Teresa Test an email saying she's been made the event manager of this event. And I'm just filling in some of that info there. Okay, so that's how you create a new event as the festival manager. And then this other events shows you other events in other festivals or seasons that you have in Eventotron. So you can see I haven't got that many, but I'm going to choose this event that's in a different festival of mine. So it's in 2023 Example Festival, and I'm going to import it to the festival that I'm currently looking at, which is just Example Festival. So I hit import to Example Festival. And you can set the event status, so you can choose whether it will be an application, in progress, or finalized phase. And you can also choose whether you copy all the event details or none of them, or just those that are going to appear in print or online. And you can adjust the question mapping. So if your other festival doesn't have exactly the same question in your forms, you can make sure that the information is going to fall into the correct field in the festival that you're importing to. So I am going to import that event into Example Festival. So I just hit go here. And Holly testing event will now be in here. I'm just refreshing that. So you will see it in progress. So in registration, just there. So it's just really handy to be able to do that. Lots of people needed to use that obviously during the pandemic when things were programmed and then cancelled and moved to, postponed to the following year. So that pretty much covers everything. If there's anything you'd like to ask, now would be a good time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I should just point out that that we are doing a series of these webinars. So the next one is called Working with Venues, and that's in a couple of weeks' time. I've got a question here in the chat. Will there be a webinar on configuring the WordPress plugin? Yes, we are doing 2 webinars on Super Simple Box Office. I think we will probably be looking at the WordPress plugin in the advanced Super Simple Box Office webinar, which I believe is on the 9th of April, but you might just need to double check that. I'm just going to stop sharing.